Welcome to the Electrical Toolset webinar. My name is Kayla Tenedorio-Cardi, and I'm the host today. I'm joined by our presenter, Sean Bryant, who will introduce himself shortly. Before we begin, a few notes. First, our safe harbor statement. The presentation today is made based on our current expectations. Things can change. Purchasing decisions should not be made based upon reliance on these statements. And with that, I will turn it over to Sean, who will introduce himself.
Thank you very much, Kayla. I'll just pop up this little slide, which if any of you have attended AU, you've probably seen it before. But yeah, I'm Sean Bryant. And who is this guy? Well, I'm the owner and lead consultant of CAD-FM Consultants over in the UK. And I also own a blog called Not Just CAD, which is fairly prolific out there in the blogging world. I write for numerous publications, and you may have heard my voice on some LinkedIn Learning, online learning content as well. I'm an AutoCAD and Revit consultant and trainer, and I'm also a member of the Autodesk Expert Elite program. I also specialize as a subject matter expert for Certiport in regards to the Autodesk certification, and also I work with AMD, the hardware manufacturer. I'm an AU speaker mentor and speaker emeritus for Autodesk University. And as of the end of this year, I might need to change the slide, it will be 32 years of AutoCAD experience and 12 years of Revit experience. And just on a slight aside there, I'm also a singer-songwriter with some music out there on iTunes and other outlets. And the second album is currently under construction, if you'll pardon the pun. And for those Americans out there, I have been known to sound like the Geico Gecko, which I knew nothing about until somebody mentioned it at AU one year. And it raised a giggle, obviously. And sometimes I'm known as Ricky Gervais's stunt double as well. So that's me. So hopefully now you can all see a nice big slide with all the tool sets on it. Now, the key concept here is that you're using AutoCAD and the 7 specialized tool sets. And you can see them all listed there. And the one we're looking at today is the electrical tool set, sometimes known as AutoCAD Electrical as well for some of the old school AutoCAD users like myself. The subscription now is, though, if you sign up to the one AutoCAD with the 7 specialized tool sets, you'll obviously get the electrical tool set as one of those 7. So that's the key concept today. We're looking at the electrical tool set and how it can save you time with your workflows in your business. Now, when I talk about the specialized tool sets, what are the key benefits of these, including obviously the electrical tool set? Now, bear in mind, these are all full AutoCAD only, as it says in the brackets on the slide. These do not work, obviously, with AutoCAD LT. But what you're getting with the specialized tool sets is an intelligent set of libraries and symbols and parts and details. And a lot of these are industry specific, and especially in the electrical tool set, they work to specific standards and specific methodologies that you'd use when you're creating your electrical drawings. This makes you faster because you can automate the creation of certain annotations, symbols, especially symbols in electrical schematics, for example. And obviously with that comes automatic layering and also automatic properties, especially with the electrical symbols that tend to be blocks with lots of attributes and allow you to automate the process of actually editing those components when they go into your electrical drawings. All of that is familiar because you're running on the AutoCAD interface. It's the AutoCAD engine. So you're used to where everything is, but you're using industry specific functionality that's built on top of the good old AutoCAD engine. And this is obviously going to increase your efficiency because you can now extend your workflows across different disciplines much more effectively. So if you're just using regular AutoCAD at the moment, for example, and you go for the electrical tool set to use and you start generating your electrical schematics that way, it's going to be more efficient, you're saving time, and also from a standardization perspective as well, it allows you to work quicker, smarter, and faster. With all of this, you get the usual subscription benefits. Now, the subscription benefits do apply to AutoCAD LT as well. So just bear that in mind if you are an LT user. You get the Autodesk technical support, you get the up-to-date software, you get the flexible term lengths on subscription now, so you can use the software for as long as you need it. with terms going from just 1 month up to multiple year usage as well. And you've got the administration tools there as well, where you can manage your licenses, numbers of seats, who's using them, especially with the new named user functionality within the subscription as well. So this is the big slide. This is where, if you look at the numbers, it kind of messes with your head a little bit. You're thinking, hang on a minute, I can be 95% more productive time-wise if I'm using the electrical toolset. So if you look at the electrical toolset there and the time it takes compared to the basic AutoCAD timings of 150 hours, it's quite mind-blowing how much time you're going to save. And this all showed up in a recent study that Autodesk commissioned. And the gains were that you could create new designs up to 84% faster. You could edit existing designs up to 77% faster, and the risk of errors was reduced by 67% due to a 67% reduction in the number of commands used. So you're thinking there, wow, look at all these time savings. Now, there is a caveat, I hasten to add. There is the little asterisk on the slide there, and this is compared to basic AutoCAD, but your results may differ. You may have different hardware, you may have a different methodology, a different workflow. So Autodesk do provide this information as is without guaranteeing it or providing any warranty to say you will get exactly the same numbers. But that big sort of number over there in the red on the right, that gives you an idea of how much time you're going to save. And even if you don't get a 95% overall productivity saving, even 80% is good. So from that perspective, you can obviously create much quicker when you're using the electrical toolset. So let's jump into what we're going to look at today. So overall, you've got that 95% time saving in the study, which is in the little brackets there in the red. I'm going to be looking at 6 specific tasks which are in the study. We're not going to do the whole study today, just these 6 tasks that come out of the study. So we're going to look at comprehensive symbol libraries, automatic wire numbering and tagging, electrical specific drafting features, automatic PLC IO drawing creation from spreadsheets. Now that's a huge time saver, and you'll see that when we watch the video. We're also going to look at how we can track electrical drawing changes, and a really good one, which is I always save to the end, is project drawing reuse. Once you've created a project in the electrical toolset, you can actually recreate that project slightly differently with a different name and reuse all of the information so that you don't have to create another project that is similar from scratch all over again. So let's move into some of the videos now. And we're going to have a little look now at the comprehensive symbol libraries. Now, the time saving in the productivity study for these is 85%. So let's run the video and I'll talk you through it. So as you can see in the electrical toolset, we're working with a project. I'm going to use the WD demo project. That comes with the AutoCAD Electrical install. And you can see we've got various drawings available. I'm going to open up Demo 02 there, and as you can see, fairly standard electrical schematic. And what we've got there, we've got some 3-phase wiring. Just zoom in a little bit there so you can see what's going on. And you can see there we've got ladder numbering starting at 201, and you can see the wiring is adopting that as well. But what we've got is a fantastic set of tools in the toolset. If I go to the schematic tab on the ribbon, I'm going to generate some extra wiring and add some symbols to that wiring, and you'll see how quick and easy this is, even just to place a few wires. So if I just click there on one of the wires on the 3-phase and drag across and click again, it automatically jumps across the existing wiring. I'm not going to worry about connecting it to anything right now, but you get the idea. You can see how quick that is already. Now, when we go to the Insert Components panel on the ribbon, you've got the icon menu, the catalog browser, you can create user-defined symbols and so on. The icon menu, when you install the electrical toolset, allows you to generate all different standards and manufacturers within your drawings. I'm using the JIC standard symbols in this particular case. And as you can see, it gives you a menu, and all of these are tiny little blocks with loads of attributes that allow you to automate what's going on in your electrical schematic drawings. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at some fuses. As you can see there, I'm looking on the list. I can go in this way and go down the list on the menu and pick what I want. Or if I just go to the overall view, I just click on the icon and it opens up all the fuses, circuit breakers, etc. Now we're using three-phase wiring in this drawing, and what I can do is I can change whether it's vertical, I can change whether the dialog is there. There's all these little tick boxes at the bottom of the dialog box that allow me to work with the interface before I bring in something like a 3-pole fuse for my three-phase wiring. I can browse for a specific symbol, and I can also show the recently used there on the right. Now, all I've got to do is go and select what I want, and there's my fuse. And the lovely thing about this is I can hover over a wire and just click, and it automatically places the fuse in the wire. Because it's three-phase, it's asking me, do I want to go up or down to build the connectivity? Obviously downwards in this case. There's the component tag, and what I love about this is that fuse has automatically picked up that it's near number 204 on the ladder and on wire 204 in the drawing itself. So when I click on OK now, it places it, joins them together, and there's the 204 and there's the 204. So from that wiring ladder, it's automatically numbering up my symbols for me. And when I hover over the fuse there and right click, can you see that funny menu that appears? That's known as the marking menu. And what that allows me to do is edit these components as well if I want to. So I'm jumping back into the icon menu again. Let's pop a relay in there. We'll just pop a little relay coil onto the wire. Again, I'm just showing you the workflow here. This isn't connecting to anything. But as you can see, it's numbering again automatically. I can put a description in there. I can put reference numbers in, link it to catalog data, and all of this is running with a database behind the drawings in the project. So there's my nice little relay coil, and you'll notice that all of the grips appear showing where the attributes are. Now, I might want to move those attributes because basically they're not in the right place. So I need to hover, click, and then right click, hover over attributes, and just go move attribute. And the lovely thing is this is all connected and it saves so much time. So I select the attributes, press enter, pick a point on the attributes where they're moving from, pick a point where I want them to move to, and they're still associated with that relay coil. It's not just like editing multi-line text or single line text, it's all still connected. It's really, really easy to use. And this is what I love about the symbol libraries in the electrical toolset, is everything's connected. So that relay coil has its own attributes, the fuses has its own attributes. That breaker that you can see top left also has its own attributes as well. So you can see the time savings there because everything has its own information. So you don't have to create that information, it's always there associated with each symbol that you're bringing into your drawings. Let's move along now and have a little look at the wiring. Now you can see we're still in the same drawing, and you can see there we've got our fuses, our little relay coil, and so on. Now, wire numbering is really, really important in your electrical drawings, and you can see that the time saving from the productivity study there is 82%. And again, the benefit here is all of the wire tagging, the wire numbering is again linking to your project. It's linking to your drawings. All of your drawings in your project are linked together. And the good thing about the electrical toolset is you can link across drawings as well if you want to. So this information can have a parent-child relationship based on different drawings. So let's just run the video, have a look at some wire numbering and see how we go. So again, we're in the same project. We've got our fuse there, we've got our relay coil there. And what I'm going to start looking at now is wire numbering. So I'm just going to jump into the schematic tab on the ribbon, and I'm just going to put a random wire in there. I'm not going to worry about where it's going. Here's another benefit. I hover and it gives me a nearest snap straight away. As soon as I click on that though, you can see there that the electrical toolset picks up and adds a connector to the wire. Now you may have noticed that in the previous video as well. Everything joins and everything heals when you unjoin it and remove it as well. So let's start numbering these wires. So I just go to wire numbers, and what it'll do now is it'll look at the ladder. Can you see the numbers 202, 203, 204? And it'll allow me to number according to that ladder. Now I can do this in lots of different ways. I can allow for cross-referencing, I can freshen the database, I can change the wire tag mode to become sequential instead of using the line references, the ladder references that I mentioned. And I can also tag new, unnumbered only. I can have a format override. I might want to change the format. And I can also insert as fixed. That's quite important because if I run a renumber or a retag, that number will remain the same. It won't change. Now I can do this project wide, drawing wide, or I can just pick an individual wire. So I'm going to pick an individual wire just to save on time. And when I click on the wire, like so, it highlights. I press enter, and as you can see, it's wire number 205 at the connection there, relating back to the ladder over there on the left-hand side. So there's my wire in place, all nice and neatly done. And as you can see, it's green, indicating that if I renumber there, it will actually re-tag it, same as the numbers top left, 202, 203, and 203B. So what I can do there now, as you can see, I've moved the number. I can do that. It's the same as moving the attributes on the relay coil earlier. So I can do that with my wire numbers too. Let's do some three-phase numbering, which is a little bit different. You can have a prefix, a base, and a suffix with these, and you can either hold or increment them. And as you can see, I'm just working my way through, just changing whether it's hold or increment, and then the suffix there is L1, and that will increment to each wire in the three-phase wiring. So all I've got to do now is pick the wires, and it will place those numbers automatically. Now, what you'll notice there is the 205 disappears because I'm now implementing three-phase wiring, so it needs 3 wires. So what's happened there is it's seen that connection and placed that last three-phase number in the wrong location. So I can just use the marking menu and place it where I want it to go. Now, another really neat trick that's available with numbering and wire tagging is if they don't line up, we can use align. So we pick the first one and then align the other 2 to the first one, press enter. Thank you very much. That's now all in place and looking nice and neat and tidy. Now, I've just touched on a few things there with wire numbering and tagging, not a huge amount at all. The electrical tool set, you can disappear down a rabbit hole doing lots of different things. I'm just touching the surface, but can you see how much time you're saving there? Because all these tools are available to you, not only on the ribbon, but on the marking menu as well. Now, one of the things that the electrical toolset also has is electrical specific drafting features. I touched on the align in the previous video. There's also a lot of other drafting features that are really cool in the electrical toolset. And one of the things I love about these is they work really well, but they're so simple and they save a huge amount of time. Again, we've got a time saving of 63% there in the productivity study. So I'm going to run the video. And we're staying in the same drawing again, so you can see our fuse and our little relay coil there and our three-phase numbering on the wires. And what we're going to think about now is these drafting features. So it may be that you want to move something in your drawing. Now, you don't have to use the move command. You can use scoot. And what that does is it keeps the component in place in the wire. And as you can see, I'm scooting the linked fuses in the three-phase. And what it's doing there is instead of using the move command in AutoCAD, you're using scoot and it heals the wires automatically. So any holes in the wires where you've scooted that fuse along and the coil here, the relay coil's moving along as well. Can you see there? It's all just healing the wires and it's saving so much drafting time because you don't have to go in and redo the line that represents the wire and so on. And then what we can do there as well, let's move some attributes again. So I'll move the attribute. As you can see, I'm selecting it there. And it's a click and a drag and another click to place, like so. So those features there, quick and easy. I can move those attributes like I've done before. But what about editing attributes? I might want that to read something different. So this little block that represents my relay coil, I can go in there and I can edit the attributes as well. All I've got to do is select edit attribute, pick the attribute like so. And at the moment that's NO, normally open. So I'll change that to open like so. And again, very simple terminology here because I'm just showing you the workflow. And then NC, normally closed, I'll put that as closed and click on OK again. And you can see that updates those attributes really quickly. It's very, very quick and simple to do. And as you can see, that's all in place. If I jump in there again and go to attributes, I can also move attributes again because that closed is a little bit too low. So I just want to tidy that up. Might use some object snaps there possibly if I needed to, but you can see that open and closed are now in place around that particular relay coil. And again, we'll jump into that align, just tidy things up, make sure our numbering looks good on the wires there. And we've now used some electrical specific drafting features, which again, save us loads of time in that nitty-gritty drafting that we have to do on our electrical schematic drawings. Now, this is the one where the Harry Potter moment kicks in. This is one of the ones that totally sold me on the electrical toolset when I first started using it all those years ago. Now, I'm not joking when it says a time saving of 99%. Imagine that you've got to draw a number of PLC drawings for your electrical project. If you had to draw those from scratch with all of this information, as you can see on the screen at the moment, it would take a long time. But the benefit you have with the electrical toolset is you have a thing called the PLC IO Utility. It's that icon top left on the AutoCAD electrical screen, just there next to Unity Pro in the import panel on the ribbon. Now I'm going to run this and you're going to possibly be blown away by the time it takes to create these drawings for you. So we're in our project and I've created a slightly different project for the webinar today. So it's got some slightly different drawings. It's called the 004 PLC project. And you can see we've got various drawings open there. I've got the power schematic open. You need to have at least one drawing open in the project for this to work. So I'm in the import export data tab. And I'm basically now going to select an XLS file, an Excel file. And I'm going to jump in there. It's in the standard path. That's the standard AutoCAD electrical path. And there's my XLS file. Now, this has got all the information in it that I need to generate PLC drawings. So it's going to call up all the different little blocks and items and wires and ladder referencing and so on. And you can see there's a lot of information in these dialog boxes. I'm not going to bore you with reading it all out, but the whole idea is you're basically setting everything up. You're setting all your parameters, and then what you can do is you can then select your drawings and so on. So as you can see, I'm going back again down the same path into my project folder, and there's my project there. And I'm using a template, a specific template that will give me all my title block and so on as well. So I'm just browsing to that bottom right in the dialog box. And then what you do, all of these settings, you would save them, and you save them to what is known as a WDI file. So this would again be saved in your project folder. So I'm jumping back to the project folder again like so, and there we are. And I'm just saving that in there like so, and I hit save. So all of those settings now are saved, and I'm now going to jump into some of the other settings like the ladder referencing. So the numbers down the side will start at 600, and then we'll have a 100 increment from drawing to drawing. So the next drawing will be 700 and so on. I'm going to create a new file name. So there's my project folder, and the first drawing will have a specific file name. I'm going to call it PLC, and then I'll just put a little underscore and then 001. So we know that they're PLC drawings, and I'll save that as well. Now, what I'm going to do just to save time is give it a free run, so there won't be any pausing between drawings, and it's going to add them to the active project that you've got on the screen. So I'll save that and those settings back to the WDI file. And yeah, I'll replace that, obviously. Now, here's the Harry Potter moment. I hit start. Now, all I want you to do here is watch the screen. It brings in a title block, and it starts occupying that drawing with all of the PLC data based on the numbering and the ladders that you've got in your spreadsheet. Now, the one thing that amazes me about this is how quick and easy this is. So you could give this information to somebody who is an absolute wizard on Excel. They can occupy the spreadsheet for you with all the data that you need, and you just run your drawings off of it. So you can see it's already creating the second drawing, and you can see the data coming from the spreadsheet and then occupying the drawing with all the blocks, with all the attributes and so on. So that's drawing 2. And now we're going to go into the last drawing. There's 3 drawings it's going to create. And again, it places the ladder first based on the numbering. And as you can see, it's occupying the ladders with all the PLC information. So there's a PLC in that ladder on the right there, for example. And it's done. Those 3 drawings are done. Imagine how long that would have taken if you were drafting those manually. Now, if I zoom in as well, you can see there's the first ladder starting at the 600 that I put into the dialog box, and then increments of 1 going downwards. And then in the second drawing, if I zoom into the top left corner again, you'll see that this one is starting at 700. So you've got enough space there for all of your components and your ladder levels in the drawings themselves. And then last but not least, you can see that one starts at 800, and obviously the wiring and the components are picking up that numbering. So you can see how that Harry Potter moment kicks in. I've literally hit the start button on that dialog box, waved my wand, and I've created 3 PLC drawings in just a couple of minutes. That would have taken hours in basic AutoCAD. And that's where this time saving of 99% in the productivity study comes from. So you can see where the magic happens there. And that's where the electrical toolset gives you some pretty massive time savings when you're generating your drawings. Another one that's really clever is tracking the changes in the drawings. You're obviously going to have more than one person working on your electrical drawings. So the trick here is to track the electrical drawing changes, and you can do this using what they call mark and verify in the electrical toolset. So I'm just going to get the video up and running, and you can see we're back in the one with our little fuse and our relay coil that we looked at earlier. So we're in the demo O2 drawing again. And I'm over now in the project tab on the ribbon, and I'm going to go to mark and verify drawings in the project tools. Now this will bring up a little dialog box, as you can see, and I'm going to mark the electrical components. And as you can see at the moment, it says on the right there, no mark data is found. That's fine. I haven't made any changes since the last time I used the drawing. So ideally what you want to do there is just mark it up and say no changes made. And then that gives you a datum point to start from. So we'll say no changes in this case, and I'm now marking the drawing with my initials to say so. So I'll click on OK, and then what I'll do is make some changes. Now, the trick here is as you work through these drawings historically on a project, you want to know who's changed what and what changes have been made so that you can check whether those changes are applicable to each individual drawing. So I'm just going to change the component tag number there. I'm going to go BRK for breaker and then 202. I'll keep the wire number. And then what I'll do is I'll change the line of the description there. Now you'll notice I'm typing that in lowercase. So it's main breaker. And when I click back, can you see it goes to capitals again? That's a little feature of the electrical toolset because everything tends to be in capitals on electrical drawings, just to be on the safe side. Now, I'm making some changes here to where the symbol is assigned to a particular manufacturer's catalog. So I'm not going to map that to the catalog because I don't want those changes to go onto it. And I'm going to say, yes, please update any related components. And I've put it in my task list. You'll notice there's a little green tick now over in the project manager to update all the drawings later once I've finished doing the work. So that's now updated. So I'm going to save the drawing. And then what I'm going to do now is run mark verify again. And you'll notice now, can you see my no changes has been marked on the drawing there, you'll notice. So when I OK that now and select here, can you see I'm marking the components that have had changes and I'm clicking on OK. So do you want to mark those components? Yes, I do. So I've made those changes, I'm initialing those changes, and what I'm doing now is just adding a brief text comment saying breaker updated. So I'll OK that again, job done. And then I would normally save the drawing, go and work on another drawing, perhaps come back to a different drawing later. And you'll notice now that the breaker update mark has been placed with my initials, with a time and a date, etc. And that's how quick and easy it is to track the changes on any drawing. I've done a really simple change there. And when I click on OK, it gives me a little report of that change. And what I can do there is I can do that in a report format. I can save it, I can print it. And once I'm done, I close the dialog box. That quick and easy to mark and verify your changes in your drawings. If you're working in a team, that's invaluable. It's saving you all that time because you know what changes have been made and you know who's made those changes to the drawings as well. More importantly, they can be time and date sensitive as well. So at least you know they were done on time or on date as well. Last video now is project drawing reuse. And again, another time saving. Imagine you've worked on a big project and you want to reuse that project for another project that is similar, but you don't want everything to go across. Again, you don't want to have to recreate that project from scratch to create the similar one. So what we've got in the electrical toolset is the ability to copy projects. Again, a big time saving, 81% in the productivity study. So I'm just going to run a very brief video. You're probably all videoed out by now, but this is the last one, I promise. And what we've got here, we've got a drawing open, and I'm not too worried about the drawing itself, but what I've got is I've got a drawing open in an other project, which is another one of the demo projects that you get with the electrical toolset. Now, the reason I've done that is you need to have a drawing open in order to copy another project that you're not using, which is the WD demo project you can see there in the projects listing in the project manager. So I want to make a copy of the WD demo project. So I click on copy, and as you can see, step one, I can copy the active project, but I've got a drawing open in that one. That's not the one I want to copy. So I'm going into the demo folder, and there's the WDP file that opens up each AutoCAD electrical project. So I'm going to open that up, and that's the WDP file that I want to copy. Now, it says if the active drawing is one of those to be copied to a new project, you need to cancel and obviously start again. So now I'm selecting a path and a name for the new project. So I'm going up a level in the project listings, as you can see. I'm going to create a new folder. Now that new folder, I'm going to call it WD Demo Copy. So I know it's different to the original one. So there's my copy there. Obviously press enter, double click inside there and give it a different WDP file name. The WDP file is what opens the project when you go to open project in the project manager. So what I'm doing now is I'm taking the drawings from the WD demo project. I'm saying, please take them all across to the new project. I'm not going to worry about individual drawings. I'm going to do all of them. And you can see that's going to a new path, WD demo-copy. And then I'm doing the title block setup and the project line labels. They can come across as well. I don't have to have those, but I'm going to OK it. I can edit the file names there if I want to. I can find and replace file names if I want to as well, if it's a list of lots of drawings. And what it does now is it creates a whole new project, and you can see that now reflected in the project manager. It's made WD Demo Copy the current project in the project manager. There's all the drawings, and I've brought them across under a different project name. They're the same drawings as the WD Demo project, but they're now in a new project called WD Demo_Copy. And you can see how quick and easy that was. Okay, there weren't many drawings in the project, but imagine if you've got 250 drawings that you want to copy. It's quick, it's easy, and you just hit the button and it's copied to a different project path and a different project name. One thing that you get with all of the tool sets is the application programming interface, the API, because it's full AutoCAD. You also get access to the Autodesk App Store. So all of the tool sets offer the API, which means you can generate user programming to automate any tedious and time-consuming tasks. The electrical tool set has a lot of automation in it already. However, on the App Store, there are apps that you can use within the electrical tool set as well. You can also develop your own user programming to create apps that might benefit the AutoCAD toolset users in your team. You can purchase the apps from the App Store as well, and it may be that you create a totally unique app and you can sell it on the App Store for the electrical toolset as well. But the whole idea is it's all little time-saving apps that you can create or jump into the App Store and find. And because you're running the full AutoCAD engine, you've got that API, you've got the application programming interface. That allows you to run the apps and develop your own apps if you need to. So let's have a look at the overall time savings we've got today. So I've listed the basic AutoCAD timings and the electrical toolset timings there in minutes and seconds. And also the percentages there that I listed above each video. They come out of the productivity study. So everything there, again, is compared to basic AutoCAD. It relates to the study commissioned by Autodesk. And as I've said as well, your results may differ. That little asterisk is the caveat. You might not get exactly the same numbers. But just have a look at those numbers there in that list. The one that gets me is number 4 every time. It would normally take you about 122 minutes to generate a PLC set of drawings or a drawing. If you use that PLC IO Utility in the electrical toolset, it brings that down to 41 seconds instead of 122 minutes, which is just over 2 hours. So that's what gives you that massive time saving. If you look at all the other ones, they are saving you time, but they're shorter, obviously, periods of time. But it gives you an idea of where that 95% productivity saving comes from in the productivity study. So think about those numbers and think about why you should be using the electrical toolset. Now, AU 2020 is over, happened in November, and it was totally virtual, which was very interesting for an AU speaker such as myself. Had to record all my classes, upload them, and then we had live question and answer sessions this year, which was interesting. It was a different format, different way of doing things, obviously due to the current world environment. You've still got a little bit of time where you can go and check out my classes on the AU website. So one particular class of mine that stands out with regard to the toolsets and the electrical toolset is AS463447, understanding the new AutoCAD, which is the one AutoCAD subscription with 7 toolsets. So if you get an opportunity to jump onto the AU 2020 website, you'll find that class there. You can watch the video, download the handout, download the presentation as well if you wish.
Jump into some Q&A. So we did have a question about the electrical symbols, if you can edit them like in the blocks editor, or are they special blocks like MV blocks in the architecture toolset?
They can be edited quite happily. They are all blocks that get installed in a content library when you install the electrical toolset. The one thing I will say there as well from that perspective though is if you are using, let's say, a specific group of manufacturers blocks, you don't want to make the changes. Perhaps you might want to contact the manufacturer and ask if there is a specific special custom symbol that you can potentially use in your drawings. One of the things that you may have seen when we were talking about the icon menu there as well is you've got the ability to create your own user-defined symbols too. So if you have got a special or a unique symbol, you can create your own as well.
Great, thank you, Sean. We did have a few questions similar in nature around bringing your drawing from AutoCAD Electrical into AutoCAD Basic. So the person asked, can I create a 3-line diagram in AutoCAD Electrical and copy it to the basic AutoCAD without losing any data? And then someone also asked for clients who don't have the electrical tool set, can they export it to AutoCAD?
You can take it across. My suggestion is obviously don't, from the perspective that you're going to lose some of the automation and intelligence around those blocks. And sometimes you do find as well, if you were going to take that drawing back into the electrical tool set and changes have been made to a specific block, let's say it gets renamed, for example, the mapping from the icon menu or the catalog menu might not work anymore because it's going to go and look for a specific symbol with a specific block name, because they're all blocks basically with their own separate little DWG files. So if you rename something, perhaps it won't come back into the electrical toolset perhaps in the same way that you might expect it to. Saying that though, you can obviously take the information out of the electrical toolset into your vanilla regular AutoCAD if you need to. But I would always have that caveat there that when you take it back into the toolset, it might not be the same.
Great, thank you, Sean. We had a question about generating bills of materials through the tool sets, if that's possible.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There is an entire reporting suite available in the electrical toolset. So you can generate reports around both your schematics and also your panel drawings. And the whole idea there is you basically, a bit like when we did the PLC input-output utility, you specify all the settings of what you want to see in the report, and then you can save that to a separate file so that you can reload that again with all those particular parameters and settings. And then it's just a case of hitting the button, it'll output it out to a dialog box or to an XLS file. I think you can even come out to MDB files as well, so you can start bringing those into separate databases and obviously work with things like quantitative software as well, where you're pricing things up for projects too. So yeah, there's an entire reporting suite in the electrical toolset which allows you to do that.
Great. We had a question. Can you use the electrical toolset to produce instrument loop diagrams for use in hazardous areas?
Simple answer, I would say yes. It depends on the hazardous area and depends on the standards requiring to be applied. From that perspective, it's a case of making sure that you've got the appropriate manufacturer's catalogs in the system, and also making sure that you are working to the appropriate standard. One of the things that you can do when you install the electrical toolset is pick a standard and a country and a specified group of manufacturers that you're going to use. Now, normally when I do that, because I'm obviously training and consulting all the time, I just install everything. But the idea is that you're going to load up what you want to use. And if you find that you haven't got a standard that you need for that particular instrument loop, you can go back and reinstall that standard or manufacturer's catalog if you need to. So simple answer, yes, but you may need to alter your installation of your electrical toolset if you haven't got the information that you need.
All right, we had a question. Can you link the device like the coil showing in the power diagram to the control diagram like the DOPLC circuit?
I'm not sure what the DOPLC bit means, because I'm no electrical designer. Yes, you can. You can link across drawings quite happily. And you can also link parent-child connections as well. So if you've got some connections on that relay coil and you want to have those obviously pointing to a control drawing as well, you set up the parent-child relationship. And then what you can do is in the edit configuration dialog box for each particular component, especially something like a relay coil, you can set where those contacts are. So they don't actually have to be in that drawing. They can be in another drawing in the electrical project. And all you've got to do, there's a drawing button, you click on it, you select that drawing, select the contacts from that separate drawing, and then that relationship will be maintained throughout the electrical project.
Great, thank you. We had a question about what is your favorite tool in the electrical tool set?
It has to be the Harry Potter one. It has to be the PLC IO Utility. The first time I used that in the electrical tool set way back when, I just sat there and looked at my screen, eyebrows raised, and I was thinking, is it actually doing this? And it did. It created in the example I was using today, for example, 3 drawings. I needed 15, and I just literally hit the start button, and my 15 PLC drawings were done in literally probably about 5 minutes. So from my perspective, that it's just a huge time saver. It saves on so much electrical drafting work, and I have to say that's my absolute favorite.
Terrific. We did have a question about the electrical tool set tying into Plant 3D or P&I and D.
Yeah, there are ways and means of connecting the information. It is quite specific, and it does require quite a bit of expertise, but the whole idea with these tool sets is that they are, whilst they are separate applications, they are interrelated products because they're all using the AutoCAD information. So for example, if you'd attended the previous webinar to this one, which was architecture and, if I remember rightly, MEP and raster design, what I did there was I showed how when we created an architectural project, you could open that up in the MEP toolset and start adding all the MEP information. It's very similar with the electrical toolset. The electrical toolset will go out to things like Inventor as well when you're putting the electrics into perhaps a plant that you've created with all the relationships and the assemblies. And I would imagine, yes, there's, again, it's very subjective though, because the thing you're looking at there is you might want to take a specific part of the electrical toolset into plant, into the P&IDs and so on. And it's put it this way, it's doable, but it will require a specific workflow to do so, and probably some standardization as well.
Great, thank you. We have a question, what's the best way to get the electrical tool set into your organization?
Simple solution, subscribe to the one AutoCAD subscription with the 7 specialized tool sets. So you'll obviously get the electrical tool set as one of those 7. The benefit you have there with the one AutoCAD subscription though is you're getting all the other tool sets as well, and you're going to then get all that industry related productivity that's available to you. So like I mentioned with the architecture tool set, you can open that architecture model in the MEP tool set and add the MEP information. And again, with the electrical tool set today, all of that electrical information can be sent out to something like Inventor as well. So you can start relating these to other Autodesk products. Also, I'll mention as well with that PLC input-output utility that you've got there, the IO utility. It's a fantastic tool for the electrical tool set, but you may have noticed there were lots of other icons on the ribbon when I was doing that went out to other products that are third party and are linked to the electrical tool set as well that are used in an electrical environment. So you can link and you can take things across to different products. And again, it's just a case of being subjective and working on that specific task.
Terrific. Thank you, Sean. It looks like that's all the questions that we had today. I hope everyone will consider joining us in January for the Mechanical Toolset webinar. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot, everybody. I enjoyed this one because the electrical toolset is a great product. It's a bit quirky and a bit different. And sometimes not what you expect in relation to basic AutoCAD, but when you see the time savings it can provide, it's pretty massive.
Thank you, everyone.